Hello, in the video. Today we're going to take a look at the Ultra League Premier Cup, not Premier Classic as you can see with all the XL Pokemon available here, but Premier Cup. This is going to be an interesting one. In my opinion, maybe a little bit better than the Open Ultra League right now, but it really depends on the meta. We see a lot of Pokemon here, but the cool thing about most of, at least of the meta Pokemon here, if you look at it, Steelix, Stunfisk, the Scrafty, Pidgeot kinda still, they are all weak to fighting types, same with Auroras. Like, a lot of fighting types going to be having a lot of play, which are usually non-XL, like the Machamp or the Surfetch'd, both of them going to be very interesting. So I feel like it's going to be really around like getting the steel types on the right matchups and getting the fighting types against the steel types in this one. Of course, one Pokemon is definitely one of the stronger ones here, which is going to be the Pidgeot. Pidgeot has so many wins, and the thing is, even if you lose with Pidgeot, for example here against Warren or the Stunfisk, you're still going to be able to get out of the matchup with most likely a double debuff on their attack, which makes them kinda bad against whatever you're going to bring in afterwards. And if you, for example, use the Seisob or something and has like a fighter in the back, you're still going to be able to get like the full farm, which is going to be amazing. But yeah, Pidgeot going to be a very strong Pokemon. Glyce's going to be pretty decent. Don't really have a team with it because it's difficult to play in this meta because we have like a lot of ice type Pokemon like Walreins and the Auroras available here, as well as you're going to have Swampert available as well, which is going to make Glyce go a little bit difficult, but still has some play. I would expect a lot of Walrein though. Obstagoon is one of the coolest core breakers in this meta here. Also a pseudo fighter basically, which helps against what I just described on top there. But also you're going to don't get the basically super effective damage from the moves from the Pidgeot, which is nice. Then we're going to have here some other Pokemon like Escavalier, which is going to be a very good choice, and also Dragonite for like those that don't want to use XL candies. And I also have some more cheapish teams coming up in the video, so let's go right into the teams. For the first team here, we're going to have 3 different leads, and all of them have, I don't know, like some better matchups, some worse matchups. We're going to have here the Seisob though, either the Snorlax or the Galarian Stunfisk, and then we're going to have in the back here the Steelix. You can also, if you don't have the Steelix, use the Galarian Stunfisk in the back and use the Seisob of the Snorlax. Does make a lot of sense as well. But in general, pretty decent team and there, but like always, if you use for example the Dragonite in the lead or you use the Pidgeot in the lead, you're going to have better matchups against fighting type Pokemon. But if you have the Machamp in the lead, there are a lot of Pokemon that don't really want to face with the other there as well. I feel like Machamp basically Machamp only doesn't really want to face any flying types or fairy types, so like 2 steel types in the back really helps you out with that. So it really depends on what you want to do and what to face. I think all 3 leads are fine. Also fine if you use Snorlax as a Seisob, very safe there. In general, Machamp, Snorlax and Galarian Stunfisk together is a common team as well from earlier seasons, so definitely something you can try. The next team here going to be a classic one that you can use without any XL candy as well, with Escavalier in the lead. I think you could also use Empoleon in the lead. Makes you a little bit weaker maybe for some fighting types, but Empoleon looks also really decent in the current meta, it feels like. This lead will allow you to destroy all of those steel types as well as like those ice types where you're really good against, for example, a Walrein. You have the Seisob here of either the Gyarados or the Charizard, and then you can have either the Dragonite, especially the Shadow version, or the Talonflame in the back. All of them are really fine. You can also use Shadow Charizard and you can also use Shadow Gyarados. All of them are pretty cool with that. One of the teams that I really liked to use last time when this cup was around, so definitely some solid options here. We can also play the same team basically in reverse here, where we're going to have the Dragonite in the lead, we're going to have the steel types of Empoleon as a Seisob and the Escavalier in the back. That's pretty much a team that's been around for ages for this kind of cup. A little bit trickier nowadays because of the XL Pokemon, but Empoleon allows you to do a lot of damage against those steel types as well. That's more of the case why I use it here as well. I thought of using Scizor or the Trevenant, but for Trevenant you have a lot of Pidgeots most likely in the back of a lot of teams here, which wouldn't be the best option for you. And for the Scizor, you're going to have a lot of Steelix or the Galarian Stunfisk now available here that are all also not something that the Scizor really wants to see. So here I think Empoleon, best option as a Seisob and Escavalier in the back to clean up the game. The next team is one of my favorites here. I might actually try to showcase that one as well. We're going to have the Swampert in the lead. We're going to have the Seisob of the Galarian Weezing, having double nukes here with Play Rough and the Overheat, allowing you to hit both the fighting types that you don't want to face with your lead, as well as the steel types that you are most likely going to be able to bait out of here, as you have a very good answer for steel types in the lead. you're most likely going to be able to get them out with your Weezing and hopefully have a great time there. Otherwise, we're going to have 2 charm users in the back that are really decent that you can use there, either the Ninetales or the Sylveon. Also, Shadow Ninetales should work out pretty well. You could also go for Powder Snow if you're really scared about the Pidgeot, but your whole team is kind of neutral against it anyway, so should be a fine team. The next team going to be also a team that you most likely maybe actually see this as well more commonly. We're going to see here Double Ice team again there with the Warren as a safe swap, and we're going to have the lead of the Trevenant, Core Breaker, Obstagoon of course, as well as Scrafty for your lead and your safe swap there. But in the back you can either run Charm or Powder Snow, up to you here, but you're going to have basically 2 good answers for potential flying types like Pidgeot in the back. Also, I really enjoy Warren as a safe swap because you still have answers for the steel types that usually get walled by, like Ice types usually get walled by the steel types, but here you have Earthquake, which is really cool. Basically trying to get the way free for your Ninetales to sweep endgame, and I really enjoyed this team. I think it's going to be a very good one. Let's go into the next one. The next team going to be basically what we had already for the Great League, which is going to be Swampert Double Flying. This time around, I would either recommend you to go for the Pidgeot safe swap or maybe also the safe swap of the Staraptor. If you have an external Noctowl, still a cool Pokemon to use. I actually think Staraptor might be a little bit interesting to take a look at this meta in general, because if you get shields down, Staraptor are going to be really strong. You have Swampert in the lead that has Hydrokin and Earthquake, which are going to force shields. You're going to have the Pidgeot, which has access to the move Brave Bird, which is going to force shields. So, like, you have so many hard-hitting moves that somewhere, like, they get out of shields. And if they are out of shields, the Staraptor might be able to sweep endgame, which might be an interesting one. So, definitely a cool one to take a look at. Next one going to be also pretty interesting because basically the core between the Trevenant and of course the Warren, as you saw before, is still a very strong core, especially in this kind of meta. But also you're going to have a lead here that should be pretty fine against nearly everything in the current meta, which is going to be Charizard. It's very strong against nearly everything. This team only really has a one weakness, which is going to be Auroras, which I don't know how many people are going to actually run because it's kind of difficult to put into a team. But yeah, like this should still be a very strong one. Like I think that the lead there of Charizard will be very good in the current meta. They're going to be a lot of fighting types, they're going to be a lot of dragon types. We have Dragon Claw 4, you have Blast, which hits basically everything for neutral. And then you're still going to have 2 Pokemon in the back that are really good together. If your Charizard basically goes down after winning lead, and you should be able to hopefully align your Pokemon then correctly. Otherwise, if you face a water type in the back, you have 2 good answers for that as well, so it should be solid. Next up, we're going to have here a double poison line with a dark type in the lead, something very common from earlier seasons, but sadly after Nidoqueen got nerfed, it's not really that common, but still should work out pretty well here. We're going to have the either the Scrafty or the Obstagoon in the lead. We're going to have the safe swap of the Dragalge. Having access to Awkward Tail allows you to hit also something like a Steelix, or the Galarian Stunfisk for super effective damage, also like something like Gliscor, which might be a core breaker for this team, not so much with your lead of Obstagoon. And then we're going to have either in the back the Nidoqueen or the Tentacruel. I think Tentacruel might be a little bit better because it gives you more coverage against those ground types that are really common in the meta. Might be a cool endgame sweeper as well with Acid Spray, but Nidoqueen still should work if you have one build. Let's go into the next one. The next one basically going to be the same as the one before, but it's flipped around. You can still play it like this, and I think it might be even a little bit better like this. You're going to have Dragalge as in lead, is at least in my opinion the best Pokemon for that. We're going to have the safe swap here of either the Obstagoon or the Snorlax, and then we're going to have the Scrafty in the back. Of course, if you don't have a Scrafty, but you have the Obstagoon, you can also use the Obstagoon instead of the Scrafty. But yeah, that's basically the same idea as before, so let's take a look at the final team for today's video. Final team here going to be very similar to the first one as well, though. We're going to have here the leader of Machamp, we're going to have the safe swap of the Warren, what a surprise, Warren and Trevenant again here, very good backline in general if you have a lead that's very neutral against most stuff in the meta. But also we're going to have the option to go for Galarian Stunfisk instead in the back. Also you could use something like Steelix again in the back, but you kind of want to have something that can beat those flying type Pokemon. But yeah, this is going to be the last team, of course a little bit lame as well, it's just the meta. It's top teams, not like most spiciest teams. Otherwise, if you have some spicy teams, please send me some footage, link in the description for some showcase. Would appreciate a lot of showcases for the Ultra League because I'm also away in the next weekend, not the Community Day weekend, but the one afterwards, so I kind of have to pre-produce some stuff. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video, please leave a like if you did, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye bye.